Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Hello, lovely to see everybody. I'll just wait a couple of seconds to make sure everybody from the waiting room has filtered in. I can see we have a couple of people still joining. But thank you so much for joining me on this October afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on whereabouts in the world you might be joining me from. My name is Kate Richards-Whitworth, and I am the Associate Director in Recruitment and Admissions for Executive Diplomas. I've been working at the Saïd Business School for 5 years. I've spent 5 years working on diploma programmes. I don't mind admitting they're my favourite programmes. I think they're some of the best ones that the school offers, and part of the reason that I think that is because I think we bring in fantastic students. So it's really lovely to be here talking to you this afternoon, and knowing that we have essentially a room full of people that are planning to join us for one of those diploma programmes in 2025. We're very excited to have another group of fantastic students ready to join us in the new year, and I'm really looking forward to introducing you a little bit further to some of the extra and co-curricular opportunities you'll have access to during and after your studies. You've probably heard this before, as you've been talking to sort of one or more of my colleagues, that the Oxford experience isn't confined to the classroom. It doesn't end when you complete your programme. We really like to hang on to you. So it's much more than a year-long experience. We're very proud of that. And we hope it's sort of something that will continue to add value to your professional and your personal lives for as long as we possibly can. So tiny little bit of housekeeping. We are recording this afternoon session. So if you want, if it's so good that you'd like to rewatch it at a later date, you can. But equally, for anybody obviously who has signed up and hasn't been able to join us, and they'll be able to access the recording. And the chat function will be running throughout as well. So if you'd like to say hello, if you'd like to share where you're joining us from, you're very welcome. But equally, if you have any questions, I will sort of make sure that I check those as we're running through the session as well, so that we so that I can pick up on any of those. I'll try and make sure that we pause as the session progresses. So let's move on. This is potentially a slide that you will have seen a version of before. I'm fairly certain that I and my colleagues all have a version of this slide. Some people call it the Oxford Onion, but essentially this is my way of sort of starting to show you how the number, I suppose, in a sense of different sort of networks that you'll become a part of as you join a diploma programme. So you obviously will join the Saïd Business School, you'll join the University of Oxford, and the University of Oxford is made up of 4 academic divisions, and Saïd Business School is we're the largest department in the social sciences division of the university. So by default, when you join SBS, you join the University of Oxford. The University of Oxford is made up of almost 27,000 students, broadly half and half, sort of undergraduate and postgraduate. From a Saïd Business School perspective, you obviously join your diploma class, you join then sort of the life cycle of that diploma, and you join the executive degrees portfolio, and as you move into the years kind of following the year in which you take your diploma, you join the Oxford Business Alumni Network. So you end up pretty well connected, which I think is something that's really nice about all of these programmes. From an executive degree perspective, we see about 400 new students joining us every year. And you're also obviously sort of plugged into the centre of the Saïd Business School and the school's networks as well. As you then go on to move into the alumni networks across the University of Oxford Alumni Network and the Oxford Business Alumni Network, there are about 400,000 people sort of all around the world. So the extent to which you are connected, can remain connected, can connect with new people, if anything, only increases as sort of the time that you spend connected to Oxford increases as well. So kind of, as I say, we don't sort of, we like to hang on to you from a relationship perspective, but we also like to make sure that there are lots and lots of opportunities for you to continue developing the relationships and that you might sort of kick off and build on at the school, but also sort of across the broader University of Oxford network as well. So what I've done this afternoon is I've split out my presentation to look at sort of the different kind of parts of the Oxford ecosystem here, and the different places in which you can find sort of things to connect with, and things to do. So we're going to start by taking a look at some opportunities at the Saïd Business School. I want to be clear, my list here is not exhaustive. There's a lot more. I've pulled out sort of some networks and opportunities that I know diploma students have I'm engaged with and have had great experiences with in the past. But you'll find as you get to the school, there's always something new for you to explore and something new for you to take part in. So kind of, you know, each time that you come to Oxford, you could potentially be engaging a little bit further, which is lovely. So these are some kind of key sort of opportunities, I think, to engage with the broader Saïd Business School community. So that's not just sort of other diploma students, that's not just other executive degree students, that's students taking programmes kind of across the business school, from the full-time MBA to the executive MBA, to diplomas, to our other specialist executive masters. You have sort of plenty of opportunity to engage with absolutely everybody. The Private Equity Institute and Forum, for example, sort of as the name suggests, was founded back in 2009 to promote research, education and networking in private equity. That's kind of an area in which the school has a particular level of expertise. The Entrepreneurship Centre works to support Saïd Business School students and indeed the wider university community as well, and particularly to develop their entrepreneurial potential. Linked to that, the Entrepreneurship Centre runs the Entrepreneurship Forum, which is a flagship event that takes place every year around this time, and that's kind of really looking to bring together masters of entrepreneurship and innovation to share their experiences and to remain sort of plugged into the school community. Oxford Business Networks are really great. Those are student-led networks which promote the exchange of ideas and knowledge surrounding particular sectors, and those are really nicely plugged in to the core values of the school, and sort of therefore the interests of the faculty who are working here, the students who are studying here, and the work that we're looking to do, the people, I suppose, that we're looking to send out into the world. The Skull Centre is an internationally renowned social impact centre. The Africa Initiative is specifically set up to invest in Africa and to support the next generation of African leaders. The Africa Business Alliance is focused on driving that initiative. That's a really fantastic partnership between students, alumni, faculty and staff at Oxford Saïd. And that again is something that I think is kind of great in terms of, a great example of the extent to which we look to foster sort of connections and community, not just student to student and kind of faculty to faculty or alumni to alumni, but within all of those sort of different groups of people. So, you know, as you move on sort of into the alumni community, you still have opportunities to connect with current students, with faculty. And as you join the school as a current student, you have those opportunities in the other direction. So you're still able to connect sort of, you know, with and the years and years worth of students who have come before you. So another event, oh, sorry, was that a question or an accidental unmuting? I think possibly accidental. We'll let that one go. Another great event that you'll see running at the school during the time that you're here is the Africa Business Forum. So that's running in March 2025. It's delivered in person and it's also live streamed, and the focus for next year's forum is specifically on the growth trajectory within the continent of Africa. So globalization versus domestic collaboration. So that would be a really interesting one to engage with. The Sainsbury Library is in, I would imagine, a part of the school that you will spend a bit of time in, either sort of in person or virtually. It's actually the dedicated business and management library for the whole of the University of Oxford. You'll just be lucky enough to have it on your doorstep at the business school. You'll have a much more kind of in-depth introduction to that in module 1 when you come to start your programme in 2025. There are welcome tours that are always available for new students as well. But it also offers a huge bank of electronic and online resources, which obviously for programmes like diplomas and executive level students who aren't based in Oxford sort of all of the time, that's an ever-growing sort of bank of resource to which you have access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Sorry to interrupt, Kate. Just
Yes.
have one question regarding this library. So
Of course.
it's because since we're doing it online, so I think we can access fully this library for whatever we need during our study and the course curriculum, isn't it?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
there will be something specific that we can only access?
No, you'll have access to all of the library resources for program specific kind of resources that you need. So for each module, those will also be made available via Canvas. So our online learning management system. So kind of your specific pre-reading documents, you'll be given particular access to those kind of via Canvas. But for any broader reading that you want to do, sort of as you're looking kind of across your assignments, your final integrative assignment, kind of if there are additional resources that you need or that you would like to access, you can always do that via the library.
Thank you.
That's right. And then finally, for this slide, the Global Leadership Centre, which will be opening in 2025. This is a huge redevelopment of Osney Power Station, which is about between 5 and 10 minutes from where the business school is currently located in Oxford. It's a really important part of Oxford's industrial heritage that's being redeveloped by the business school to offer a sort of a real centre within Oxford for our executive education programmes, and that's a really kind of exciting development, not just from an executive degree perspective, but in terms of the history and the development of the business school as well. So as I say, this is not an exhaustive list of ways in which and opportunities that you will have to engage with the business school community, but I wanted to start by giving you something of an overview, and then over the next couple of slides, I'm just going to give a little bit of further information on a couple of these. So we're sort of taking a look, sort of taking a spotlight on some of these opportunities. So starting with the Entrepreneurship Centre, which really does play a central role within the Oxford ecosystem. It's a massive contributor to global innovation. It's a massive contributor to wealth creation. It's really designed to equip students with kind of the skills and the mindset that are increasingly needed within an entrepreneurial economy. They offer experiential learning, they offer networking opportunities for students, but also, as I've touched on, kind of far beyond that. So as you move into our sort of post-programme communities as well, they run an e-school, which sort of enables you to engage with easy to consume and on-demand content that's looking to work with sort of people who are kind of aspiring entrepreneurs, people who have already sort of started down that path. It's all curated content. It's all overseen by our faculty. It's all bespoke, and it's all created by a kind of world-leading entrepreneurs, investors, business leaders, and academics. So it's sort of another kind of area in which you can add to your learning, you can kind of build on the work that you'll be doing as part of the programme that you'll be joining. The flagship event sort of each year that the Entrepreneurship Centre runs, the Oxford Saïd Entrepreneurship Forum, is a kind of, again, kind of runs about this time each year. I've popped the this year's keynote speakers up there, but that's really kind of an opportunity to hear from people sort of, you know, who have and done this work, who are doing it on a significant scale. There are panel discussions, conversations about entrepreneurial trends, opportunities to discover sort of more about startups that are coming out of Oxford, and opportunities to understand a bit more about how, if you want or if you need to, you can engage with Oxford sort of as a startup potentially, somebody who is kind of either already or thinking about working in that area. So it's a fantastic event. It's open to everybody. So kind of as well as students and professionals from within the Oxford ecosystem. It's also open to people outside of the school and the university to join as well. And then the O Network, which is run within the Oxford sort of Entrepreneurship Centre, is a curated group of kind of, again, experienced entrepreneurs, investors and business leaders who give their time to support students, both through structured programmes, but also one-to-one discussions. So that's sort of another resource to which you have access kind of as soon as you join the business school and on into the future. If you want, when you're in Oxford, or indeed before that, to learn a little bit more about the Entrepreneurship Centre, they run a termly newsletter, and they've also just published their annual impact report. So they do that obviously every year, but the 2023-2024 report has just been published and can be downloaded from the Entrepreneurship Centre website if anybody had an interest in that particular area. Pause for questions. Entrepreneurship Centre, anything anybody would like to know more about? No? Great. So I also thought that we would take a slightly closer look at the Skull Centre as well. This, kind of, as I say, is it's another really important sort of part of the school, kind of working to bring researchers and practitioners together to generate sort of insights on how to lead, how to organise, how to measure and how to scale impact. And those insights are then kind of incorporated into learning programmes for entrepreneurial leaders and indeed leaders in general, both at Oxford and across the world. So that's the centre really looks to combine the academic research and the academic excellence that we find obviously from across the University of Oxford, from that Oxford ecosystem, with global expertise from social impact practitioners, and they're kind of really always looking to be developing and to be sharing best practices for systemic social change. And so again, it's a really important part of the work that the school does in sort of thinking about how we want to do things, and the sort of people that we want to be producing, and the work that we want those people to be doing, but also thinking kind of, you know, all that time as well about how we can support people in and those ambitions as well. So the Skull Centre focuses really nicely on research, education and community. So from a research perspective, it's a fantastic example of kind of interdisciplinary work at Oxford as well, sort of really bringing together that academic research across the university, and sort of giving us all and the benefit of that. So they also, sorry, I've just something up here, there we go. They also have lots of strong links with leading practitioners and academics outside of Oxford and across the world, who frequently serve as research collaborators and instructors and kind of thought partners as well. So it's a really nice example of the Oxford ecosystem and the Oxford community sort of plugging into a global and a very international community as well. From an education perspective, the Skull Centre offer programmes that are designed to kind of to cultivate leaders who are reflective, who are empathetic, and who are really looking to create and sustain positive impact, sort of both within and beyond business. They've Skull Centre programmes kind of have reached well over 5,000 postgraduate students at Oxford, and well over 15,000 students globally. So again, sort of if nothing else, another part of the Oxford and the global community to which you'll have lots of access, which is really nice. And then the kind of a real particular focus for the Scholl Centre is on the community that it's fostered and the community that it's a part of. So the Scholl Centre has been in existence for about 20 years and has really worked very particularly sort of over that time to build and to sustain and to develop the community that it's a part of. So again, it's a very unique part of the Oxford ecosystem, I think, and something that we will benefit from sort of hugely on a daily basis at Saïd. So if you have opportunities to engage, it can be a really positive part of that Oxford experience. Thinking about discovering more about the Scholl Centre, they have a LinkedIn page, they have a YouTube library, and they also have a podcast, which goes back a few years now and is a really nice introduction to the work that part of the school does. Any questions on Scholl Centre before I move on? Nothing in the chat. Good. Okay. So that was just a little bit. Oh, hang on, something has just popped up. The AFOX leadership programme. Thank you very much for the question. We'll jump in and have a look. Let's run back here because I do have a note on that. The AFOX leadership programme is linked to the kind of other African initiatives that I talked a little bit about on earlier slides. It's a cross-university platform that's really looking to facilitate both equitable and sustainable collaborations between researchers who are based at the University of Oxford and African universities. They also have a focus on increasing the number of African students who are pursuing postgraduate degrees at Oxford. So that's sort of a part of the Scholl Centre that has that particular sort of African focus as well. And Suma, you can access both of these communities while you're doing the diploma, and you can also access them post the diploma as well. So kind of again, we don't like to let you go. We would really like to see you sort of engaging and involved for as long as is humanly possible. Oh, lovely. Sorry, yes.
Kate, I just have one question to ask here, because I can just look at this research perspective. So it's basically academic research or business research, because we are mostly from the industry, so we are basically most familiarize ourselves with the business research. So that's why this question, because I can see here this combining academic research across the universities, because mostly whatever we have is based on the business research.
Yes, absolutely. So sort of anybody who's engaged with the centre from the Saïd Business School, and the Scholl Centre is kind of based out of the Saïd Business School. So the research that kind of is focused on from a business school perspective kind of is obviously that way focused. But we obviously have the benefit as well of the wider university community and the academic research that feeds in from every other department.
Okay, thanks.
That's quite all right. So peeling off some of the layers of our Oxford onion, I just wanted to touch quickly on college communities as well. There are 39 colleges at the University of Oxford, very much kind of a collegiate system. Diploma programmes, as I'm sure you're all aware at this point, each offer associate membership of one of three colleges. The college that you become an associate member of depends on the programme that you're taking, but we can learn a little bit more about that here. So Jesus College is the college with which the diploma in global business and the diploma in artificial intelligence for business are associated. Jesus College was founded in 1571, so quite a while ago, by Queen Elizabeth I. It has a college community of 650 undergraduate and graduate students, and the principal at Jesus College is Professor Sir Nigel Shadbolt, he's a world-leading researcher in computer science and artificial intelligence. He was really one of the originators of the interdisciplinary field that is web science. So from an AI perspective, it's a really fantastic college to be able to be associated with. Nigel Shadbolt is also co-founder and chair of the Open Data Institute, which specialises in the exploitation of open data to support things like innovation training and research, both in the UK and internationally. So he's a really fantastic person to sort of have involved in any way with diploma programmes. Pembroke College is the college with which the Diploma in Organisational Leadership and the Diploma in Financial Strategy are associated. Pembroke was founded in 1624, so they're 400 years old this year. They have about 365 undergraduate and 240 graduate students. St Edmund Hall, which is colloquially known as Teddy Hall, so you might hear people talking about St Edmund Hall or Teddy Hall, they're the same place, is the college with which the Diploma in Strategy and Innovation is associated. And that's true for both the in-person and the online streams. St Edmund Hall, obviously it's called a hall rather than a college. At this point in time, they function pretty much in the same way, but back in medieval times, halls were established to house and educate undergraduates, and a lot of them actually predate Oxford colleges as they are now. St Edmund Hall is the last of the many medieval halls to survive, and it was fully incorporated as a college in the 20th century. The first documented reference is all the way back in 1317. So of these three collegiate institutions, it waves the flag as the eldest. And at St Edmund Hall, there are about 390 undergraduates and about 290 graduate students. And kind of again, these are opportunities for you to engage with that wider Oxford ecosystem. There are opportunities, obviously, as part of every every module to visit your college, depending on availability, and it's sometimes possible to stay at a college. The extent to which you engage is largely up to the individual, but it's a very, again, unique part of the Oxford experience. It's not something that you get in many other places, and it really, I think, gives a sense of the tradition that is the University of Oxford. And from a business school perspective, it's also a really nice opportunity for us to underscore our integration with the university, and to be able to have you take part in all parts of the Oxford ecosystem. So those are that's moved itself on nicely. And then just because I wanted to take a quick look at a network that exists within the college networks. So at Jesus College, they have a really fantastic entrepreneur network, which was founded in 2015, and began actually with a student mentoring team for an innovation competition that was run in partnership with what was then the Oxford Foundry. But these days it's a really nice network. It's grown to include associate alumni, students and alumni from the business school. It's grown to include friends of the college as well. And again, it's a really nice opportunity for Saïd Business School students to expand the networks that you're a part of, to become part, if possible, of an even more diverse and even more global alumni community. They're very welcoming of anybody who has any interest in entrepreneurial work, and indeed anybody who has an interest in student mentoring as well. So again, as you're finding your feet in Oxford, if that's something that you'd be interested in, the network would be very happy to hear from you. I think yes, you'll be able to. I'm sorry, Carlotta. You'll be able to connect with them. Then, if you'd like, you'll be able to connect with them most meaningfully once you're officially enrolled in your program and you get started, etc. But they'll be very happy to hear from you from now on. Lovely. Okay. So we've touched on colleges. We're now going to take a little bit of a closer look around Oxford with a capital O. So sort of widening our perspective from the business school and the colleges to the rest of the Oxford ecosystem. I've done something a little bit similar here to the Saïd Business School. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. Would you believe I do not know everything? I wish I did, but I just wanted to pull out some sort of some really kind of key and particular opportunities. I will talk a little bit about the Oxford Union and the Oxford Union in a bit more detail, but I wanted obviously to flag that one. The Rhodes Forum on Technology and Society, they have their 3rd annual forum taking place this year, and that is a forum that really looks to bring together colleagues from science, from technology, from the arts, and again from social innovation to think about sort of how we can place ourselves behind developments that are going to make the future better. And this year, particularly, the Rhodes Trust is actually partnering with SBS to align their forum with the Entrepreneurship Forum. So they'll be running this year as sister conferences. So again, that's a series of keynotes. Panel talks and interactive sort of sessions, and it's going to be really fantastic, I think, to see those two forums sort of working alongside each other, and also kind of again sort of seeing the power, I guess, and the opportunity of the Oxford ecosystem working sort of together and within itself. The AI Society is by no means open only to those who will be taking the diploma in AI for business. It's sort of designed to provide a platform to educate, to build, to connect, and most of all, sort of really to employ or to build and to employ a really interdisciplinary community that kind of, is looking to drive innovation. Their mission is really to ensure that AI is working for the benefit of everybody, but also that sort of anybody who wants to can engage with AI at Oxford rather, and can learn about sort of artificial intelligence. So please don't sort of look at that and think, I'm not taking an AI diploma, I can't get involved. That's not the case at all. They would very much like to speak to and to get to know you. The Oxford Internet Institute serves as a hub sort of again for interdisciplinary research, combining social and computer science. It's a really integral part of the University of Oxford Social Sciences Division, as sort of is the Saïd Business School. So again, there's a really nice sort of partnership there, and really nice opportunities to engage. Dame Stephanie Shirley is the founding donor of the Oxford Internet Institute. I love Dame Stephanie Shirley, and I try to mention her whenever I talk about the Oxford Internet Institute. But she sort of really recognised an opportunity for the University of Oxford to assume a position of global kind of leadership in this really significant field of research. And luckily for us, she made and she continues to help us make it happen. The Bodleian Library, singular, but actually kind of more formally known as the Bodleian Libraries. There's a group of 26 libraries that serve the University of Oxford. The Bodleian Library is the main research library. All diploma students can access that, but sort of as you get to Oxford and as you're exploring the resources and things that are available to you, you'll find that as well as that enormous a library that is the Bodleian, there are 25 others that you might be able to make use of as well. The Sheldonian Theatre, which was built in the 1600s from a design by Christopher Wren, is now used for university ceremonies. So that's where your diploma graduation ceremony will take place. We get everybody together for a lovely day in the year that you'll all be finishing your programmes. So it's 2026. The Ashmolean Museum is the oldest public museum in the UK. Opened again in the 1600s, and is the University of Oxford's kind of official museum of art and archaeology. And the Natural History Museum sort of again is a centre of scientific study at the University of Oxford. One of its most famous features are famous features are the Oxfordshire dinosaurs. So if you have time, sort of while you're in Oxford, to get along and check those out, they're very impressive. If you fancy getting married, you can get married underneath the Oxford dinosaurs at the Natural History Museum as well, which I've always thought must be very atmospheric. And then the University of Oxford Botanical Gardens, the oldest botanic garden in Great Britain and one of the oldest in the world, founded in 1621, today contains over 5,000 different plant species and is a really lovely place to go for a wander in the summer. It's just down on the river in Oxford, and is a really sort of a really lovely part of the city. So all of these sort of places, some of them more academic, sort of some of them just a part of the sort of Oxford ecosystem that you can enjoy. But to all of those, you'll have access as you join the university and as you join your diploma programme. We'll move on then just to spotlight a couple of areas here as well. So thinking first about the Oxford Union. The Oxford Union is the Oxford Union Society, was founded in 1823. As students at the university at that point felt they were quite restricted in the matters they could discuss and the opinions they could air. So in 1822, 1823, a group of young men sort of met and established the rules that would govern their new society. Their first debate was held in April 1823, and it was on the state, the monarchy, and democracy, which I think we can all agree are subjects which have been debated time and time again across the next 2 centuries. I don't think they've finished debating those things yet. The first debate focused on the revolution under Cromwell, and I've got some sort of other notable debates that have taken place across the years as well. Women were admitted as members in 1963, yay. And sort of since then have played kind of a really important role in the Oxford Union. There's been at least 1 year when all of the senior sort of officer roles at the union have been filled by women. So that was an excellent year. But it's long been and it's still considered the most prestigious debating society in the world. They sort of, very firmly situate their roots in free speech and the importance of sort of such the right to debate. But I'm kind of from a union perspective, from a community perspective, they're responsible for a really large number of activities. So they host weekly debates, they host guest speakers, they interview politicians, celebrities, sort of people of note, and they also arrange social events as well. It's all of the work that the union completes is sort of overseen and carried out by students, so entirely student run, and kind of again the speakers that they invite from around the world across the political spectrum, they always provide their members with the opportunity to engage with that speaker and to challenge. So as well as that list on the slide, kind of a bit more recently, the union has played host to names like Morgan Freeman, Judi Dench, Ian McKellen, Stephen Fry, Michael Jackson, John McCain, General David Petraeus, Malala Yousafzai, while she was studying at Lady Margaret Hall, Sepp Blatter, Nancy Pelosi, and David Cameron. So there's they take a very broad worldview in terms of sort of the other people that they invite to come and speak, and it's again a really unique part of the Oxford experience that you can be part of again, not just while you're studying, but also as you move in to the alumni communities. Diploma students and alumni can become permanent members of the Oxford Union. So that isn't something sort of again that is or that needs to be confined to the year that you spend studying with us. If you're ever in Oxford, you can kind of come back and make use of that resource. Just seen a question pop up. I will triple check that, Patuan, but yes, I believe so. I've not sort of heard or been made aware of anything that would suggest sort of that you wouldn't be, but I will triple check that before I confirm, and I'll send you over an email if that's okay. So if you want to discover more about the Oxford Union, they have a dedicated website, yeah, you can go on. There's lots of information there about how to become a member as well, as and when you'd like to make that happen. And then I also want to just to take a quick look at that at the Bodleian Library, founded in 1602. So it's one of the oldest libraries in Europe. As I touched on briefly, it's the main research library of the University of Oxford, sort of sits at the head of that group of 26. It's a legal deposit library, which means it receives a copy of any book that's published in the UK and Ireland. They're not now all housed in Oxford. Many of them are. But there are also several very large storage facilities out close to Swindon, and equally lots and lots of sort of resources are stored there now, because we simply don't have enough space kind of within the university. It's made up of 5 buildings, so the 5 that I meant, sorry, the 4 that I mentioned on the slide here, and then there's also a quadrangle close to the Divinity Schools. You can access, once you're in Oxford, the Bodleian Library with your university card. You'll sometimes also hear people refer to that as your bod card, because it's your point of access to the Bodleian Library. Particularly good for part-time executive and international students are the Bodleian digital services. So there's a service called Solo, Search Oxford Libraries Online. That's the Bodleian Library's online catalogue. You can use that to search the resources of most Oxford University libraries, including books, ebooks, articles, databases, and media as well. You can also search materials that are received by the Bodleian Libraries via electronic legal deposit as well. You can search through research papers and theses that have been deposited in the Oxford Research Libraries. You can search the map collections, and increasingly sort of lots of the Bodleian Library's rare books are being digitised as well. The pandemic sort of kind of helped a lot with expediting, I think, I work within the university to digitise as many collections as possible. So we're all reaping the benefits of that, if nothing else. And then each college of the University of Oxford has their own library as well. Lots of them actually were well established a long time before the foundation of Bodleian, and lots of those remain independent of the Bodleian as well. So you can always access the library at the college with which you're associated as well. As with pretty much anything these days, if you'd like to learn more, the Bodleian has a very good website, and sort of again, as you start your diploma programme, you can work through an introduction to the libraries as well, to make sure that you're getting as much as you can out of them. Any questions on that one? Can't see any. Cool. Good. In that case, I just wanted to finish, and I've mentioned some kind of alumni communities and things like that quite a few times across the course of the session, but I just wanted to dig down a little bit more into sort of what those networks look like. So as a member of a diploma programme, and having joined the Saïd Business School, as you complete your programme, you'll become a member of the Oxford Business Alumni Network. That's a network with well over 27,000 members. The network is present in 159 countries, and there are 20 global chapters and 60 global ambassadors. The network runs networking and events. Those activities include sessions that are led by academics, by faculty at the school, as well as plenty of opportunities for you to network with other alumni from your industry, and also across the rest of the university with reunion events. There are regional chapters, so kind of around the world, different chapters lead and coordinate activities in their cities. They host regular social and professional events. So they're a really excellent resource in terms of networking with other alumni. the interest that kind of that they foster and that you might want to show is by no means limited to the area that you reside in. So if you're traveling, if you sort of have opportunities to engage with chapters and communities in different parts of the world, we love to see people doing that. Kind of it also means if you relocate, you have the opportunity to engage with kind of another community as well, to sort of to expand and to develop your network. Something that that's really nice within the Oxford Business Alumni Network as well is that there are a number of sector-focused resources, and those are sort of parts of the network and the community where we've worked to tailor the content sort of a little bit to bring sector-focused kind of events and information. So at the moment, the sectors that are kind of particularly sort of focused on are finance, technology, entrepreneurship, healthcare, and consulting. But those are that's a kind of a process of evolution. There will be sort of more and new sector-focused resources available. There's also an Oxford Saïd alumni leaders group, which is intended as an opportunity for women alumni to make a lasting impact within the community. So that's something for female participants, female students, and in time female members of the alumni community to bear in mind. There are a number of library databases to which you sort of gain and retain access as well. So as I say, and I was about to repeat myself, but actually when I sort of started on this side, I said when you finish your programme, you join the Alumni Network. I think the alumni sort of team at the school are increasingly keen that people sort of feel and consider themselves engaged with the Alumni Network from the point at which you start your programme. So that's actually probably a better way to think about it. And I kind of some of our colleagues from the alumni team will come in to see you across the course of your programme to make sure that you have access to them and to make sure that you know who they are and to make sure that as you look to engage with that part of the community, you can do that as effectively as possible. They run a monthly newsletter. There's a LinkedIn group, and you'll also sort of have a lifelong email address as well, and that kind of that links you to the school and the alumni community as well. I can see that there's a question popped up here. Carlotta, the executive diplomas are accredited as postgraduate diplomas. So there's a differentiation in the qualification. Sort of there's the postgraduate diploma and a master's degree are distinct, but the level of study and the level of assessment is the same. So structurally, you complete a different number of academic credits for a postgraduate diploma and a master's degree, but the teaching and the learning and the assessment for an executive diploma is all done at master's level. So they sit at the same sort of level of qualification. Does that make sense? Yeah, good, lovely. Great. And then just a quick look at the University of Oxford kind of alumni. So 350,000 alumni there, sort of again, regional alumni groups and a presence sort of really across the world. And that's sort of another kind of opportunity for you to continue and in many cases to build on your connection with the University of Oxford and the Oxford ecosystem as you take yourselves out into the world. Great. So I have a little bit of time left over for Q&A, though we've been working through some of those obviously as we've gone through, which has been nice. But if anybody has any other questions about anything that we've covered, I would be very happy to help just before the end of the session.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kate, for this overview, and gives us the understanding that there is a lot that we can dig into. The question now is like, would there be a summary with the links of each of the communities that we can kind of connect to? And I was thinking about if there's a page with a description of what the community does, about the topics that they're covering, community, maybe discussions that we can connect on, like events, and maybe possible when it's going to be possible to join and how to join.
Absolutely. So it's, I mean, somewhat, well, this might be annoying or it might not be annoying, but pretty much every place that has been mentioned in this presentation has a website, sort of, has, they'll have kind of a brochure, whether that's an impact brochure, sort of whether that's sort of an upcoming events brochure. But I will share my slides. So Horatio, don't worry about that. So you can go back through the slides. You can hopefully pick out sort of anything that that's of interest to you, and you can engage sort of in your own time. You'll realistically get more benefit as you sort of start your program, but it's never too early to sort of to start investigating and to think about sort of where you might like to see yourself. Or kind of the different areas in which you'd like to engage. So do reach out sort of to the different sort of parts of the university. But as a start, I'll share my slides, and hopefully that will sort of give you the opportunity to start investigating the areas that are of most interest to you. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Good, that's all right. Dina, student cards you'll receive as you arrive in Oxford. So it's very important as part of your preparation for your diploma programme, and that kind of once you've submitted your deposit payment, one of the very important things to do is to return your university card form. That's essentially the thing that enables the business school to reach out to the university and to begin that formal onboarding process, and that also then kind of makes sure that we can have things like your university card available for you sort of as you arrive in Oxford. You'll receive 2 cards. Students always have an access card to the business school, which gives you access to the whole of the business school site, and then the university card is the sort of the thing that formally recognises you as a University of Oxford student, and that, as I say, is the card that gives you access to the Bodleian Library, etc. But those will be available for you as you arrive in Oxford. Is there a possibility to collect the university card for early arrivals? That I'm not sure about. I would need to check with my colleagues in the admissions team. My instinct tells me probably not, but Ahmed, I will double check that for you, and I will let you know. And Sunil, yes, lots of the sub-networks and lots of the networks have LinkedIn pages. If you have a LinkedIn profile and you're happy to join those, that is a really nice place to start. Sort of all of those parts of the communities are really nice and sort of active, and yeah, very welcoming as well. And Samu, what the qualification on your certificate will be postgraduate diploma from the University of Oxford. Yinglin, you get the card form to fill in once you've made your deposit payment, and that comes from my colleagues in the admissions team. Okay. Let's see, just if anything is coming through. I think that's most things. Let's have a look. Okay, a question from Storm around if whether there's a consolidated resource with an events calendar for everything I've mentioned. There is a pretty in-depth, if you are on the Saïd Business Schools website, there's an events tab, and that picks up a lot of kind of school events. It doesn't pick up necessarily events that are running across the Oxford ecosystem outside of the school. If so, you will sort of be best off. I know it's a little bit annoying. It's a little bit of kind of additional admin, but you will be best off sort of making sure that you've checked sort of separately for any kind of particular area that you're particularly interested in engaging with, just to make sure that that you've got kind of a joined up a sort of picture of everything that's going on. Great. Well, thank you so much again for joining me this afternoon. I know there was a lot of talking. Oh, thank you, Timothy. Timothy just said it's 1 a.m. in Sydney and worth staying up for, so that's a relief. That's always nice to hear. Thank you. Vedika, the graduation ceremony, I don't know for sure, so don't take this as gospel. It's never taken it's never run immediately after the completion of the last module, and it runs sort of in the summer after you have your final module. So for next year, say if you're starting a diploma program at the beginning of the year, as you guys all will be, and your final modules will sort of be taking place November, December 2025. The graduation ceremony will probably be in the summer of 2026. So this year in July, we held our graduation ceremony for diploma programs that ran in 2024. So it's there's a gap of about 6 months, which for Oxford is very normal. That's kind of how our graduation ceremonies generally run. So for the last few years, it's been we've run in July. So that's probably a pretty good estimate. But it's always a wonderful day. As I say, we hold the ceremony in the Sheldonian Theatre. It's a ceremony for all diploma students, kind of again. So it's a fantastic opportunity to obviously get together and to re-engage with your class, but also to re-engage and to get back together with the whole of the diploma community. Friends and family always very welcome. We love to see friends and family. So please put it on the family calendar if you can. But lovely. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. You all have sort of obviously contacts with my colleagues in the recruitment team. You will all have by this point as well contacts in the admissions team. Do reach out if you have any questions. It's what we're here for. Kind of, you know, we want to make sure that you have everything we need, and we want to make sure that you stay excited about joining us in 2025. We're really looking forward to seeing you in Oxford, or indeed kind of online for some of our online diploma in strategy and innovation participants. I think I have one final slide just as a representation. One day this could be you. I hope it will be. We anticipate that it will be. But as I say, if there's anything else that you need sort of in the run up, if there's anything we can help with, just let me know. Then thank you very much. Have a lovely rest of your day.